Hello. Tonight I want an old Smoky Mountain fly that I grew up around, fished a lot growing up. It's called the gray hackle yellow. Starting out with a barbless 14 in the vise. I'm using black UTC 70 as my thread. And I'm starting out with my Bernard's tying wax. I like to put a little bit of wax on my thread when I first start out. Sort of helps it bite on the shaft. Some of these newer threads and the nickel plated hooks makes it a little bit difficult sometimes. They want to slide and scoot around, but it seems like that wax helps them bite in. I'm going to tie back to about the point. Now, the original gray hackle yellow called for a red tail made of some of the old cellophane wrappers off cigarettes that opened up here in the Smokies. The old timers used what they had and tied with whatever materials they had on hand. Later on, we started using some red calf tail and making the tail out of it. So that's what we're using tonight. I have collected some of those cellophane cigarette pull things just for this fly. But I'm not going to use them tonight. I'm not going to dig them out for it, but it's pretty unique how the old timers here in the park in the Great Smoky Mountains, how they used whatever they could find, what they had on hand. My camera equipment, I apologize, it's a little inundated. It's just using the iPhone with a tripod. Now, my dubbing is going to be super fine, and I use these dubbing boxes like you'd get at J. Stockard's or Bob Marriott, Barlow's. Any of them has them. And I try to keep all my yellows in a couple of these things, and I like to blend them together a little bit every once in a while. And I'll just take a small pinch of dubbing about that size. That's a couple different colors I mixed in there. It was super fun. This fly is very simple. It's good for people to learn with, start out with. I'm going to make me a dubbing loop, or not a dubbing loop, a dubbing noodle. Very small. A lot of this stuff you see people having problems with tying flies. Probably 80% of it is related to using too much material at one time. You know, one of my big habits, bad habits, is let me see if I adjust this camera now. I can see. One of my bad habits is crowding the hook eye, and where that comes from normally is putting too much dubbing on, making too long of a noodle. Then when you get up here at the end, you get to the point of no return, and you think, I'm doing it right now. I'm borderline doing that. Trying to build my taper. But you get up here to the point of no return, and you think, man, I've got all this material. still on this thing. What am I going to do with it? I'll just keep wrapping. Then when you do that, you run out of room. Then you have nowhere to go with it. So you run toward that hook eye, which crowds you at the end because you haven't got room to put your material on. Tie that off. Now, one thing I like to do right here, when I get to this part, just so I don't screw up, put a little half hitch right there while I get my hackle ready. I'm using a whiting grizzly hackle. If I can find where I laid it, it's laying here somewhere. But it's a saddle hackle, and it just right here. Let me get it over here. I gotta change some lighting stuff around. This saddle here is kind of unique. It had a lot more black. The barring was broader on the black, and I think on this yellow fly it stands out pretty good. So here's what we're gonna do. We've got the shiny side toward me. Take my thumbnail, pull it up, strip off that upper side, strip off the lower side. Now on the leading side, which will be the side that'll be going against the dubbing first, I'm gonna take off just a little more. Now, I get ready to tie that in. The shiny side is toward, that thread is wanting to jump that way to my right. So to compensate for that, I twist counterclockwise with my bobbin. Now, we roll that feather back just a little. My thread got pretty flat when I done that, so now I'm gonna cord it back up by going clockwise. Pull this barbel back off this quill or whatever it's called. My thumbnail or fingernail right under the hook I'm pulled down. Now, we're gonna start out wrapping away from me. That's one thing a lot of online tires don't tell you, is which way the fly is oriented to them. Some of them are got the camera in front of them and with a background in between, and some of them have the camera like me in between me and the fly, and unless you know their setup, it's sort of hard to tell that. Now, got that tied in. We're going to take these spring scissors. These are made by, I'm going to butcher its name, Anadromous. Man, these things are good. They're serrated. They're inexpensive. You can get pretty precise with your cuts. Before we go any further, I'm going to put another half hitch on that, just in case. Pull that hackle back, and I'm going to build his head up just a little more, trying not to trap no fibers. But I got one. Now we'll come in and put another half hitch. Trim that off. We're going to take our UV, and I'm looking for a new one right here that I'm trying, and I'm beginning to like it. I'll show it to you here if I find it. But I know I've got it sitting here in front of me somewhere. Need to start marking stuff a little bit better, I guess. Here it is. Okay. I went in Hobby Lobby yesterday. I went in there just to get a piece of foam. That's what this all started out as. And while I was in there, I went in the jewelry section. And I found these colored UV resins. This was a pack of about, I don't know, 8 or 10, 0.3 ounce bottles of different colors, and for 14 bucks. And I thought, I'm gonna try them. And I'll tell you what, I'm beginning to like them. I use Silverens, I use Gulf, Loon. Recently I've had all kinds of issues with Silverens. Every bottle I bought, none of it come with a nozzle. So I had to email them and get me some nozzles mailed to me. The Gulf resin has the little metal nozzle. They're all pulling out when you open them and won't stay in when you squeeze the bottle. And I've contacted Gulf and contacted them with no results. And there's one thing that'll get me off a product pretty dang quick, and that's if you don't take care of your customers that stand by you. But there we go. I think it's pretty dry. Keeps it shine even if you touch it. That'll get a little dull right there. I rubbed on it. There you go. That's my size 14 Smoky Mountain Gray Hackle Yellow. Thank you.